It is now week 5, I think, of COVID-19. Either way, this has been going on too damn long. DJ, play my music.
Here's another Get More video with the VO hustler himself, Robb Moreira. Get more with Robb Moreira.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Robb Moreira here with another Get More with Moreira video. That's right, the VO hustler is back. Apologies for last week not having posted anything. I was kind of just taking a week to myself. But truth be told, when you're not leaving the house, you kind of run out of stuff to talk about. So kind of just took a week to myself to kind of figure out what I wanted to talk about. But I actually did something smart. I ended up putting feelers out to the virtual crowd, to y'all out there, to see what you would like me to cover. And I ended up getting a awesome suggestion. But before I get into that, let's talk about what I've been up to. So besides doing my usual bookings and such, thankfully I got a booth. I got Source Connect. Everything works well. I've had a couple of bookings. I'm keeping busy throughout the week, thankfully. It's the beauty of having return clients and new clients alike. So thankfully that's been going very well. Got a couple things stewing right now that I'll probably be seeing turn into something this week. But yeah, that's about it. As some of y'all know, those that follow me on Twitter more than anything, maybe some of y'all Instagram followers, you guys know I'm really into the Gunpla. For those that don't know, that's Gundam kit building, which is a model kit from the anime Gundam. And I've been going crazy with these things. I've built a lot of them in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. I've built 2, 3, 4, I don't know. I built like 5 of them already. 4 maybe, I don't know. But I got like 4 more on deck. For those that are Gundam fans, I got a MS06F Zaku 2. Now these are all master grades. I only mess with the master grades. Real grades are cool, but pieces are too small, and I got big old fingers, and I don't like those tiny pieces. It's just annoying. I did one other high grade, and it's just that 1/144 scale is just too small for me. I don't appreciate it. I like 1/100s and above. Though I haven't messed with a perfect grade yet, so I don't know what a 160 looks like. I mean, I know what it looks like. I've seen one in person, but I've never built one. So I'm kind of working my way up to that. But yeah, I got a Zaku 2, which is the green Zaku. I got a master grade of that. I got this dude coming up. Got a Gundam Dynamis, Gundam 00. So got him coming up. He got that cool, crazy, giant sniper rifle. So he's a really cool character. Really like the way that character looked. One of my personal favorites from Gundam Wing, Endless Waltz, is Death Scythe. So this is the standard. It's not Death Scythe Hell. So I'm going to be probably copping that at some point. I got to get through these guys first. I don't like having like a crazy backlog and just kits stuck in my closet. I'd like to kind of have like 3 or 4 on deck. And then for my birthday, which is pretty cool, which is today. Well, I mean, you're watching this on Monday, so it was yesterday. My wife and my girls hooked me up with this massive full armor unicorn Gundam. Look at this thing. This thing's look at the size of this box. It's as big as my head. This thing is cool. This is the Verka with the full Psycho Frame prototype. I mean, this thing is it's a behemoth. Look at that thing. That thing is awesome. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to building this one. This one's gonna be like a project. So that's cool. So I'm excited about this one. This one's gonna be really cool. So shout out to my wife. Always hooking it up with the good birthday presents, as always. So yeah, so that's what I got. Got a couple kits. That's how I keep myself busy, besides doing yard work, because what else are you gonna do? Stuck at home, right? But yeah, so that's what's going on. As for today's topic, real quick, something that I wanted to touch on, shout out to my homegirl, Karen Gilfrey, for actually giving me this idea. So I had put out feelers to see what people would have liked me to cover on this video. So one thing that she brought up is audio descriptions. So audio descriptions is actually something that I've been doing for a very long time. So I've been doing voiceover now roughly about 7 years. It's going to be 7 years in a few months. And for about 6 of those years, I've been doing audio description. So almost my entire career, I've always done audio description. Um, which a lot of voice actors are kind of like that. There's always that one thing that they tend to do a lot of. So audio description happens to be that thing for me. So I've been doing it for about 6 years now. So I first started with now this came through my agent. This wasn't anything that I hunted on my own. So I do want to kind of preface the whole conversation. So this wasn't work that I hunted down. This was work that came over building a relationship from a link through my agent. So I did audition. I auditioned. I don't remember what the first job was, but I remember I auditioned for a job for this studio, and the studio's here in New York. I did an audition for them. I honestly don't remember what the gig was, but I remember I did that one, and then they ended up calling me back in to do something else. Um, and the first time that I went in, I don't remember what the job was, but I know it was like an e-learning kind of gig. So I remember there was something like that. And then I did another one for Pepsi. It was a big e-learning job for Pepsi. But they wanted me to do it with like slightly Hispanic accent. They had me do 3 different versions. So one was totally clean English, one was a slight Hispanic accent, and then one was a very thick Hispanic accent. So I did the e-learning 3 times over, and I read the script cold. I had never read it before until I got there, and I just went at it. And I've been fortunate enough that I have a pretty good sight reading, so as I read I can kind of interpret the text fairly well on the fly, because I tend to read ahead as I'm speaking, which is it's kind of a skill that I picked up just from being an actor and reading scripts and plays and such, that it worked for me, and they really liked it. They were super impressed with how quickly I picked up how to do that, and that kind of kept them in mind for me. And the fact that I was able to do the Hispanic accent, able to say, Spanish words appropriately. So they ended up putting me on for Nina's World. And I did Nina's World for that first season or two. I think they only did like a season or two, but I did all of Nina's World. And then after I did Nina's World, I did Daniel Tiger. And I've been doing Daniel Tiger ever since. So I've been doing Daniel Tiger about 4 years now. And I also do several different shows. I do Mission Unstoppable with Miranda Cosgrove. I do like 5 or 6 others. And I do a lot of work for Chase and their videos on YouTube. I do a lot of work for that. So, I'm talking about the work that I've done, but a lot of you are probably wondering what the heck is audio description. So, audio description, I probably should have started with that. So, audio description, what it is you're describing what is happening on screen. So, the reason for this is for people who are visually impaired and they can't actually see what's happening on screen, or maybe they can't see it well, whatever the case may be. That's for it's for those that are visually impaired. So if you can see what's happening on TV, but you're watching TV with someone who is visually impaired, you would put on the audio descriptions so that they can follow along with what's going on. So they'll hear all the dialogue, but then they're going to hear another voice that comes on and describes what's happening on screen. So I do that for ton of shows. But yeah, the ones that I've done the most though is Daniel Tiger, my work with Chase, and now I'm doing another cartoon. It hasn't actually come out yet on PBS, so I didn't sign an NDA or anything, but I'm not going to talk about it because the show's not out yet. But it's another cartoon, so you'll you'll see that when it comes out. But yeah, so that's basically what it is. And it's really great work. It's funded by the Board of Education, the Department of Education, sorry. And I think it's awesome. It's not work that's gonna make you rich, but it's work that really like kind of feeds the soul, because you're doing something really good for people out there. So that's why I really like it. So audio descriptions is a very big market. There's a lot of work for it. I've done movies for festivals. I've done a couple of them. I did one for kind of a festival for athletes with disabilities. There was another one that I did as well. It was for I think folks that had disabilities in the arts. That was another one. Again, the market for audio description is really, really huge. It's just finding the studios that are doing that work, because I don't think it's work that all studios do. I think it's very specific work to very specific studios. So I got lucky enough that I got linked up with this studio through my agent, and I've been working with them ever since. And it's been a great relationship overall. I absolutely respect them. I take my work very seriously with them, and thankfully they like me, so they keep calling me back. So I highly appreciate that. But it's really awesome work. I know Netflix is doing it a lot. Currently, I know Netflix is doing it. I haven't worked with them yet, but I know they are doing it. Notice how I said yet. Ooh, snap, Netflix, call me. But yeah, so it's really cool work. Typically, the way it works, I should probably go into how an audio description session works. So typically, what would happen is that you would get a script of basically a script of the show for the most part, but you have these boxes, and these boxes describe what's happening. They have the description of what's happening in the show. So you're not actually watching the show. They give you a fully written out script. They have writers for this. So these writers specialize in describing what's happening on scene, and also having it concise enough that you can say it and it'll fit in the show without having to pause the show or whatever the case may be. So the show can keep rolling. So they have to pick what's important to describe and how deep, how much in depth they should get with said description. So you would go in, you would get the script, and then you would just read each. Read each description. Typically, you would do it twice, just so that they have one for safety. If you happen to flub, you just like any other gig, you just take it back from the beginning, read it again, and then that's pretty much what you do. Typically, a 30-minute episode. If you really know what you're doing, if you know your show, you could probably clear it in 15-20 minutes, reading the entire script. I've done a couple like that. A half hour show could take me about 15 minutes to crank out, but if it's a show that I already know. And that plays a big part, is that if you become a regular, you'll more than likely be tied to a show, so you already know how to describe certain things when it's a specific character, because you're not taking on the voices of the characters, you're just the voice of the description. But the idea is that, let's just say somebody who's visually impaired is watching the show, you're not just describing what's on screen, you are building an experience, in the sense that, think of it like you're sitting next to the person and you're describing it for them. So if something's exciting, then you would describe it in an exciting way. If something's sad, then you would be sad about it. If something's cute, you would, and so on and so forth. You would emote what the situation is. It's not monotone. So that's kind of the idea of it, so that they don't miss out on the excitement of the show. You kind of build it into the descriptions for them, if you're doing it correctly. I've heard audio descriptions for other things, and clearly that's no fault of the actor. I'm sure it's more than likely that's just how they were directed. But I don't like the direction of just keeping the descriptions monotone, because if it's an exciting movie, then it loses all the excitement, because you're just meh, meh, you're just saying the words. What does that do? So I like that when I'm doing it, I'm painting the scene with my words and my emotions and intentions. So that's why I like it, or at least that's how I try to do it. And that's how the studio that I work with, that's how they directed me to do. And I actually really like that approach to it, and I think that's how it should be. Not to say that that's how it is for everybody, but that's how it is for the studio that I work with. So maybe I'm lucky. Who knows? But that's audio descriptions. It's really great. You could probably do a session for like an hour or two. That's typically how they do it. Depending on you, might be faster, might be slower. But yeah, you would usually get booked for an hour or two. Rarely do I get booked for longer than that. I mean, the most I do is probably 2.5 hours at a time. But depending on how many shows you're doing, what kind of a show that you're doing, because I do some kid shows and I do other more business style shows, my voice tends to kind of go up and down. So they don't try to stress my voice too much. Because when I do the kid shows, I have to have a really high, you know, high level of performance, and my voice has to be at a much higher range to then go back down to do something, say, for Chase, where it's more clean and more business oriented. Then that gets a little hard doing that, up and down kind of swing with your voice. So they don't they don't abuse me, thankfully. But you could do a lot of different shows in a session. So, but yeah, that's how audio descriptions work. It's a great gig. I mean, if you can somehow get your foot into that business, it's really interesting, and it helps you out. You actually get a lot of great skills out of that, in the sense of being able to read, very, read and interpret on the fly, because I never see the scripts until maybe 20 minutes prior to the session. So there's no real prep time. It's just kind of like, here's the script and this is the show. So in knowing the show, I already know the tone, and then I just go from there. So that's actually helped me with audiobooks. That's helped me a lot, because I'm able to interpret very quickly on the fly what's going on. Not to say, for you audiobooks folks out there, not to say that I read audiobooks cold. I didn't say that. That's not what I'm saying. I always read the book beforehand. But what it helps me with is that even if I just read it the one time and made my notes and such, when I go into it, I can read it very easily without tripping up. So, that definitely helps me out in that respect. Um, yeah, so I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I hope I'm not missing anything. I'm trying to think. I mean, that's how a basic session runs. That's what it would consist of. The purpose of it, the kind of psychology and acting behind it. Yeah, that's really kind of it. But again, that's audio description. Again, really cool, very different. Um, uh, very different avenue in voice acting in terms of how to listen to these voices, because truth be told, you probably don't have that option on your TV, because you haven't needed to. But usually where you would see that is in the SAP options. So you would see it in there. So if your TV is new enough, I think it has to do with the TV, but if your TV is new enough and it's on, I don't know if it works on anything streaming, like for example, like PBS. For Daniel Tiger, I know when the show is live on cable. I know if your TV has that option, you could put it on, but I don't know if you could do it if you go to, like, say, the PBS Kids website. I don't think they have the option there. If they do, I haven't found it. I mean, again, I don't dig too hard for it, but typically it's an option on your TV on the SAP options, and you should be able to find it somewhere in there, and it'll say audio descriptions. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then you could put it there. I know PBS for a fact has a lot of shows that have that, so I would test drive it there first to see if you have that, and then yeah, you can see the different shows that have it. And if you want to check it out with Daniel Tiger, then you'll hear me. So that's that. But yeah, thanks for checking out my video. I hope I illuminated a little bit what audio descriptions entails, what kind of work it is, and how it's actually done. But yeah, if you got any more questions, definitely drop a comment in the YouTube, in my YouTube comments below, or shoot me a DM, either be it Twitter, Facebook, or IG, whichever you have. Shoot me a DM and let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll go from there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I know I always point that it's like right over here. It's actually over here because my video's mirrored. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's right here. if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the subscribe button should be right here. So click that subscribe button. We already went over 200. Thank you so much. I did make that as a birthday gift to me. You don't have to get me a gift, but as a gift, subscribe to my channel. Why not? Do me the favor. Get my numbers up. Get me into that YouTube algorithm where I could get suggested for voiceover videos, because that'd be nice. I got some good content. Check it out. But anyway, make sure you get out there. Make sure you got your home studio set up. Make yourself marketable. Make yourself visible. Remember diversification. Whatever. However you want to say it. I don't know. Peace.